Lionel Richie built a career on love songs, but the love story that actually saved his life had almost nothing to do with romance, and everything to do with survival. Most people think they already know his story. A megastar, a messy divorce, a younger girlfriend, the usual Hollywood headlines. But dig a little deeper, and what you find is far more complicated, and far more human. A medical mystery that went unsolved for years, a private marriage that had reportedly already fallen apart long before it became tabloid news, and a health scare in 2026 that brought everything into sharp focus. According to Richie's 2025 memoir, by the time his first marriage made the front pages, the relationship had already effectively ended behind closed doors. He writes that he and his then-wife had already separated before the incident that became infamous, that he had retreated to a beach house just to decompress, to escape the pressure of global fame and a private life that was quietly crumbling. That detail reframes everything. Rather than a thriving marriage derailed in a single night, the picture that emerges is of a slow, painful collapse that the public only witnessed at its very end. The legal events of June 30th, 1988, were real and serious. But according to Richie, they were the final chapter of a story that had already been closing for some time. What followed in the years after was, in some ways, even harder. During the 1990s, Richie began losing his voice. For a man whose entire identity was built on singing, it was a terrifying prospect. He underwent 4 throat surgeries in 4 years, each one promising a fix that never quite came. In a 2022 interview on Piers Morgan's Life Stories, he described genuinely fearing his performing days were over. Then, after all those operations, a holistic doctor finally stepped back and looked at the full picture. The culprit wasn't some rare vocal condition. It was acid reflux, stomach acid quietly burning his vocal cords night after night. A change in diet, not another surgery, was what ultimately allowed him to heal. Years of physical damage, traced back to stress, disrupted routine, and a life that had lost its structure. That structure eventually came from an unexpected place. Lisa Parigi, Richie's longtime partner, is not the person the tabloids made her out to be. She's a multilingual entrepreneur, founder and CEO of 2 lifestyle brands, with experience in global supply chains, branding, and executive management. Richie himself has described her, in a 2019 People magazine interview, as someone who helps him navigate his crazy world, and that her intelligence matters as much as anything else. By his own account, she brought a kind of operational calm to a life that had long been running without guardrails. Which makes what happened in St. Paul, Minnesota, on June 24, 2026, all the more sobering. Mid-concert, 9 songs into his set on the Sing a Song All Night Long tour, the 77-year-old suffered a dizzy spell serious enough that he had to sit down on stage to finish the show. Upcoming dates in Chicago and Columbus were postponed shortly after. His body, quite literally, demanded a pause that his ambition wasn't willing to give. That moment captures something true about Lionel Richie's story. Not a scandal, not a simple romance, but a man who kept pushing forward through divorce, through misdiagnosis, through physical collapse, and somehow found steadier ground on the other side. If that story resonated with you, hit like and subscribe. There's plenty more where that came from.